Hey everybody, Game Scribble here. It's a beautiful evening in Skyrim. The sun is setting outside of Whiterun, and it's a happy hour here at the Honey Brew Meadery. In today's video, I'm going to highlight my load order for April 2020. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Close enough.
So here we are on the Xbox One S. And this is my current load order that I'm using in my Let's Build series here on the channel. And I'll leave a link in the description below if you want to check out that series. Let's go down this load order. This is a really good load order. I'm really happy with this one. And they just keep getting better as people drop me suggestions on which mods to check out. And I just do a lot of experimenting with different mods. I watch a lot of YouTube. I watch a lot of other YouTubers with their videos on load order. I got a couple favorites. I want to give credit to Gone Turbo. He's a YouTuber that does a lot of mod reviews. And I get a lot of suggestions and stuff from watching his content. You know, funny enough, we all kind of use the same mods. But he has also taught me a thing or two about what order to put them in. So anyway, starting off, Skyrim Special Edition unofficial patch. It's a big file, but I mean, you got to have it. Everybody should have it. Unless you don't want to have it, then you don't have to have it. Unofficial Creation Club update. This is for content from the Creation Club that was free. It was called Arcane Accessories. I picked it up a long time ago and just have stuck around with it. Your own thoughts. This is basically it's a mod that changes the text. So basically it's like instead of the text being in third person, it's kind of in first person. It's just kind of fun to look at those little messages that pop up on your screen, and it's kind of like something that you would be thinking in your own head rather than the game telling you something the game wants to tell you. Now we have a texture mod. This is the Dark Ages SMIM add-on, the static mesh improvement. Every build series and load order that I do, I try to use a different pack, a different texture pack. I've tried the graphics pack, I've tried Skyland, I've tried a whole bunch of them. And this is a group of mods from Tarshana called Dark Ages. And you'll see more Dark Ages mods as we get down the load order, but this is the static mesh mod. So basically what it does is it retextures all the clutter and add-ons that you see, kind of stuff you don't notice, tables, chairs, barrels, that kind of stuff, ropes, stuff that you really wouldn't pay much attention to, but it just cleans it up, makes it a lot better. Dark Ages is more of a fantasy look, and that's what I wanted to go through with this playthrough, with this load order. So there's my SMIM. And now we're going to take a look at a couple magic mods. So 3 magic mods that I'm using here: Fendrix Magic Evolved, Apocalypse Magic of Skyrim, and then Elemental Destruction Magic. The first 2, Fendrix and Apocalypse, are absolutely must-haves for every load order I do. You know, if you're doing Restoration, Conjuration, Altar, it doesn't matter what school of magic you're doing, even if you're just doing a little bit. These 2 mods add tons of content and spells and not much space. Apocalypse 72 megabytes, but again, if your character's doing the least amount of magic, these are must-haves. And also they affect NPCs, so you definitely want to have these in your load order. Again, they're must-haves for me. Elemental Destruction Magic was basically just something I put in there because I was toying around with the idea of a wind and a mage that just used wind and water magic, so I threw that in there. It's a lot of fun. It adds 3 schools of spells: earth spells, water spells, wind spells, and it does, you know, runes and different levels of each type of spell, and it also makes certain characters have weaknesses to the different elements. So anyway, just something fun. If you're going to be a mage, change it up a little bit. You want to throw Elemental Destruction Magic in there. It's worth a shot. It's kind of a bigger file at 116 megabytes, but it's a lot of fun to play through. Better Combat AI is a mod that changes the NPC combat behavior. It makes combat a lot more difficult and I have a couple of mods in this load order thanks to a YouTube comment from a guy named Dean. I think it was Dean Chase. I can't remember his photo, but it was Dean something. And his comment really sparked some thought. He basically commented on my last load order that I didn't have enough mods that changed the gameplay. I had a lot of texture mods, a lot of armor mods, a lot of mods that made it physically a better game to look at, and just too many armor mods. But the gameplay was still the same that it's been for 9 years. He kind of challenged me to change it up a little bit, and instead of having all these armor mods that I really wasn't using, how about taking a lot of those out and putting in some mods that make the game really, really hard? And that's what I did. And I can't thank him enough. If I met him in real life, I'd shake his hand. If he drank beer, I'd buy him a beer. It was a great suggestion, and it's changed the way I look at the game now. So, Dean, if you're watching this, thank you. I really appreciate it. So, better combat AI makes the combat difficult. The NPCs just have a different mindset. They come from the sides, they flank you, they bash you when you're trying to do a power attack. It just makes combat a lot more strategic. And let's talk about some of the mods that I'm using that change some of the textures. I have Rustic Lands. This is, a landscape mod, does roads, bridges, some snow-covered roads, land, stuff like that. What it doesn't do snow, and it doesn't do mountains. So I have two other mods that you'll see further down the load order, one that specifically does snow and one specifically does mountains. But Rustic Lands is absolutely beautiful. I've tried a bazillion landscape mods, and Rustic Lands is one of the best that I've come across, so I'm really glad it's in my load order this time. Skyland Imperial Forts and Dungeons. Again, I've used a lot of mods that change the textures of the forts and dungeons, and I have not come across a better one than this. When you're inside forts and dungeons, it looks amazing. And this, coupled with a couple of the other mods, some of the lighting mods, makes the game inside those dungeons really immersive, and it's just great. So, Skyland Imperial Forts and Dungeons, perfect mod. I don't know that I've found one better. Speaking of inside caves and mines, this mod, it's not the Skyland, it's not the graphics pack, but this mod here, Caves and Mines, go ahead and search it out. It is amazing. It makes the inside of caves and mines look, again, I don't know that there's anything better than this for caves and mines. And same thing with Tombs and Ruins. I have the Tombs and Ruins right below it. It's not too busy. It's very realistic. It's very immersive. The texture is amazing. I just love it. I think that the mod author, it's like T4GTR34UM3R. I don't know how you would say that, but just search it out. Put it in your load order. Try it out. It's really, really good looking. And again, I haven't found any mods, including Graphics Pack and Skyland, that covers Caves and Mines and Tombs and Ruins as good as these two mods. They're the best I've come across yet. I have Divine Cities for the first time in my load order. Since mods started popping up years ago and I started getting into modding and load orders, I've put Divine Cities in probably 10 different times and it has never worked. My load orders always crash. I know it might not be this mod, but I just couldn't figure out where to put it. Thanks to Gone Turbo's last load order video, I stuck it where he had it. And lo and behold, it works. So this is the first playthrough that I've used Divine Cities, and man, it's cool. It's really good. Changes the cities, just gives them a much more vibrant feel. Makes the cities feel alive. Like there's really stuff going on. The Smiths really have a lot going on. You'll see in the footage at the end of this video, I'm going to show some footage, and you will see the Skyforge. And it is phenomenal work. So this mod, A+ on this. If you can get it to work, this is where it worked in my load order. I think I had been putting it in the wrong order all those times, but it's working now, and I am really glad it is. So bravo. I think this is one of Tarshana's mods. Bravo to her. Really good mod. So let's take a look. The next two mods are sound mods. We have Reverb and Ambiance Overhaul, and we have Immersive Sounds Compendium. Again, both of these are must-haves. I will always have these in every load order that I do because they make the game sound amazing. I splurged and bought a pair of Astro A50 headphones, and I tell you, man, these things just make the game sound awesome. The destruction spells, the clink of weapons, shields, it just sounds amazing. I would put these in your load order. Highly recommend them. All right, back to some texture mods. We have Rustic Weathers and Lighting, followed by True Storms. And then, of course, you have the Rustic Weathers and True Storms merge. Now, Rustic Weathers and Lighting, it's 2.98 megabytes. It takes up no space at all, and it looks awesome. It's so dark at times, and there's a mod that we'll get to in a second that has presets, and just for the space it takes up, I don't know that there's a mod better than this that does weathers and lighting. And True Storms, it makes those storms amazing. So it can be a little too much, I'm not going to lie. Sometimes the rain and the thunder are too loud for me, and the snow's too thick and I can't see, especially somebody that likes to record YouTube gameplay and Let's Play and Let's Build videos for Skyrim. Sometimes it's a little annoying, but overall, it's a 9 out of 10 for me. We have Smooth Sky Mesh. Basically, it just makes the sky a little bit smoother. Not a huge file. I'd stick it in there. The next one here, Obsidian Mountain Fogs. Again, a must-have mod. And you'll see in the footage that I'm showing at the end of this video, this mod is phenomenal. I would not play through without this mod in my load order. It is beautiful. And then Rustic Weathers presets. Basically, it gives you some presets. There's default, there's like a film one, harsh, vibrant, Pixar, whatever your flavor is, you can pick a preset. I use the harsh preset because it makes it dark and more fantasy-like, more kind of, I don't want to say Fallout-like, but it's more Fallout-like. It's more dark and the colors are just a little toned down, and it makes it beautiful. Highly recommend Rustic Weathers presets with Rustic Weathers. Here's a couple fun mods. Unique Bridges of Skyrim. Basically all it does is it adds 20. I think there's 20 bridges that it adds to the game. And again, in the footage that you're going to see at the end of the video, you'll see a couple examples. But I mean, they're brilliant. Whoever did this mod and came up with it, hats off to them. One of those mods that I'm probably always going to have in my load order. It just makes the game that much cooler when you have this in there. Point the Way, a very good mod. If you don't know where you're going and you run into a sign, it'll tell you where to go. Whiterun Underground Lair is a player home, and it basically puts a layer underneath of Whiterun that's filled with skill trainers, alchemy, all the stations. You got like a little bedroom in there. Just absolutely tons of content in this mod that will help you out. If you're playing a sneaky character, a thief, an assassin, one-handed, pickpocketing, that kind of stuff, all the skill trainers are down below Whiterun in this layer, and they will train you up, I think, up to level 99. Really, really good mod to have if you're playing that kind of character. Divine Cities Lanterns, just an aesthetic mod. Add some lanterns throughout the world there. I had another lantern mod, but I figured since I was using Divine Cities, I would throw this one in there to replace the other lantern mod I was using. And it's beautiful. Speaking of beautiful, Divine Forest, good texture replacer and basically fixes up some forests. It just changes the look of the outdoors around the cities and towns and holds and stuff like that. And again, really well done by Tarshana, so I would highly recommend that. Divine Texture Pack Trees basically just changed the texture of the trees and the bark. Again, love this mod, love her work, highly recommend it. And I'm using Verdant Grass Plugin mod. I always like to use a grass mod. I had a Vadosprom, but it was really causing some shadow issues. The LOD files caused a lot of shadow issues as I was running around outdoors, and it was really annoying. It was annoying enough that I deleted the mod and went on a search for a different grass mod, and I stumbled across Verdant. I hadn't tried it before, I plugged it in and it's great. I mean, it's not flashy like the Vadosprung. I was using the spring version, which was really green, but it does what it's supposed to do, covers up some of the dirt that's in the original vanilla game and just makes more grass. So it is a pretty hefty file at 85.71 megabytes for a grass mod, but you gotta have a grass mod, right? And then you gotta have landscape fixes for grass mods if you have a grass mod. Put it in there. A darker distant LOD, basically, I got this suggestion from Gone Turbo as well. It basically just changes the forefront and the background images slightly just to make the game more aesthetically pleasing to your eyes as you're looking around outside. I've played with it, I played without it, I did some testing. You can't really tell, but because of the size, it's only 6 megabytes. I left it in there because you can tell a slight difference, and it's worth it if you have the space. Craftable clothing, here's a mod that I absolutely love. It just, you have so many options. You can go to a tanning rack, you can craft every piece of clothing in the game. And if you're into that, go ahead and put it in there. The file size is tiny. So here's another combat mod, Athletic Combat, and it's realistic movements. This mod is fantastic. The NPCs, as you're fighting them, they sidestep you, they'll move around you. They basically make it really hard for you to hit them. And if you have a two-handed, if you have a bow and arrow, you're constantly backing up and moving forward and moving to the side and strafing. It makes combat so much different than the vanilla game. I highly recommend it. If you want to change your game and make it a little bit more difficult, a little bit more immersive, so that the Draugr don't just stand there in front of you so you can whack them easily, get this mod, check it out in combination with a couple of the other combat mods. It really does well and performs really well. Big, more kill moves and decapitations. I don't have to explain why this is in my load order. It's more decapitations. Practice Dummies is a mod. It's just, you know, if you're starting out, let's say you're a Nord and you start out and you're starting a game, you got a two-handed weapon, you want to level up quick, run to a practice dummy, start smashing it with your two-handed weapon. It will raise your skill level. It caps at level 30, which is great because then you can't just abuse it and become overpowered unless you're into that sort of thing. But one-handed, destruction, whatever it is, use a practice dummy, level it up. Once you get to level 30, it caps out. It's definitely helpful to have it in there. Bounty Perks is a mod that, again, I'm always going to have this in my load order. As you're playing through Skyrim, you realize, I kind of want to put a perk point in this slot or this slot, but you know what? I don't have any perk points. Well, this gives you an option to go do a quest for a Jarl. You go talk to them, or you talk to a shopkeeper or a barkeep, and they, you have that option. I'm looking for work. And they say, oh, the Jarl's put out a bounty on some bandits. I mean, you all know, you guys have come across that a million times in your playthroughs. Well, this makes it so that when you complete those quests and you turn them in, not only do you get the 100 gold, but you also get a bounty perk point. So you can increase or move your character along a little bit quicker. So definitely something that helps out with the grindiness, especially early game. Unlimited shouts, it's in there. You find an amulet of Talos, you put it on, you can shout unlimited times. I don't use it much, only when I need to, so take it or leave it. It's a small file size. Now this is an ESP file that stayed in my load order after the mod author deleted this mod at least a year ago. It's called I Hate Vampires was the name of the mod, and it basically stopped vampire attacks from the towns. And I had that mod in there because I absolutely freaking hate. You'd go into a town and all of a sudden the vampires would pop up and they would kick everybody's ass and they'd kill all the NPCs that you wanted to trade with, and then they'd kill you. And I hated that. It was so annoying to me that happened. So anyway, this mod, I Hate Vampires, it was great. And one day I was redoing my load order and the mod was gone. And I was so sad to learn that the mod author pulled the mod off of the servers and it was no longer available. Somehow, this file, this ESP file, stayed in my load order. And I have never deleted it because I don't know how this works. I'm not a computer wizard, but I don't get any vampire attacks in any of the towns because this is in there. So I'm never going to delete this. It's just always going to be there. Gilded Green Regrown is just a small mod that allows the Gilded Green and Whiterun to grow back to its full size from a sapling when you do that mission for the Gilded Green. No big deal. Take it or leave it. Left hand rings makes it so that you can have a ring on your left hand and your right hand, so it gives you an extra enchanting slot. Pretty helpful, especially if you're into enchanting. Immersive Patrol is another one of those mods that makes the game a lot more immersive. Basically, it's just patrols, you know, whether it's Dawn Guard, whether it's the Dalmor, whether it's the Imperials, the Stormcloaks, you know, whatever it is, there are a ton more people out doing their thing, and they're fighting and getting into trouble, and you just might stumble across a big fight going on because two patrols have met into each other that they don't like each other. Really, really cool mod to have. I highly recommend this one. All right, here we go, Dean. These were Dean's suggestions. Again, he put a comment on my last load order video that kind of called me out for being a little bit of a wuss for not having any tough mods in there. So you know what? I took his suggestion and I put all the populated mods in, except for populated towns, because that didn't add any combat or didn't make the game more difficult. It just made the game a little bit more annoying because there's too many people in the towns I was running into all the time. So populated dungeons, caves, ruins, populated land, roads, paths, and populated forts, towers, and places. I'm telling you, put these mods in and go into Bleak Falls Barrow at the beginning of the game, and you're gonna crap your pants, because you're gonna turn the corner and instead of one Draugr being there like normal, there's going to be 3. Or, you know, go into a cave that you normally would go into. Go into Ustengrav during the Greybeard's quest. You know, try and find the Horn of Jurgen Windcaller. You go through that tomb right there. You're going to be shocked at how many Draugr are popping out of different places trying to kill you. Same thing with forts and towers. The bandits. Go into a cave that's, you know, normally filled with just a couple bandits. Not anymore. There's twice as many bandits. It's really, really cool. So this combined with the combat mods really makes you think about how to play the game. And you can't just rush through it anymore. It's really immersive. I highly recommend. If you want a different type of game, it's 2020. You've been playing this game for 9 years. If you want to turn this game into something different and you've never done these mods before, put them in there. Highly recommend them. It is a ton of fun. You might have to turn down the difficulty though. All right, Rich Merchants of Skyrim. It makes every vendor have 10,000 gold instead of 1,000 gold. I use it. I'm not ashamed of it. I love it. Realistic conversations. I could take it or leave it. Basically just changes some of the conversations so they're not so boring. Realistic wildlife behavior is a great mod. If you run across a pack of wolves, you know, normally if you're out in the wild in real life and you run across some wolves, chances are they're going to be scared of you and they're going to run away. That's what this mod does. It takes all the wildlife, bears, wolves, saber cats, stuff like that, and it just makes them pause for a second. So they don't automatically attack you. You have to attack them first, or you have to approach them and get really close, and then they'll attack you. Just a really good mod to have so you're not always walking around getting attacked by every living thing that moves. Believable crime report radius. Again, I always have this in my load order because it just makes, you know, when you steal things and stuff like that, it just makes the radius of the people that notice you a lot more realistic. The load order size is tiny. Now we get into the texture mods. The Rustic Lands does not cover mountains, so I put in North Fire's photorealistic mountains mod. I've used this mod before. It's really great. One of the best texture mods for mountains. And here's all the Dark Ages texture mods. I'm not going to go over each one in detail, but the main Dark Ages texture overhaul takes care of all the textures and all the towns and villages. Then you got Green Whiterun, which is taking Whiterun to a whole nother level. Dark Ages castles all in one. Solstheim, signs, food, snow, because Rustic Lands doesn't cover snow. So all these Dark Ages mods are in here. It gives this load order a very nice fantasy feel. So I highly recommend these. Very good mods by Tarshana. I also have Dark Ages dragon textures, and this is 62.72 megabytes. I really haven't noticed a huge difference with this one, so if I was going to delete a couple to make room, I would delete this one first, Dragon Textures. Also Signs and Food, not a huge deal if you don't have those textures redone. More Blood and Gore, Enhanced Blood Textures, Better Blood Splatters, Enhanced Blood Textures. These mods are awesome. It makes the game more bloody. I don't really have to explain that any further, I don't feel. So, okay, display enhancements and dynamically disable eye adaptation and bloom. These two mods just make the game more pleasing to your eyes. True White Chaos Hair Selection is a small mod, and if you can't afford to have a hair mod that's 250 megabytes in there, put this one in there. It only has about 10 or 11 female hair selection mods from the Chaos Hairdos, but it also allows you to color them in a really white color. Basically, it's a hair mod, and it's really small file size, so I used it in this load order because I didn't have a lot of extra room. Adorable Females just makes the females in the game better looking. I use 7 bases female body to change the female body because the vanilla body is kind of dumb. So I'm using that. Take it or leave it. It's not a game changer for me. Natural Eyes, just something a little bit different. Changes the eye colors. And then I use the Fair Skin Complexion. It just changes the skin. 7.68 megabytes. Bang for the buck. This and the female body mods together work really well just to make, characters look a little bit better. Quieter Dungeons and Caves. I don't have to explain this one much either. If you've never used this mod, put it in your load order and walk through a cave in a dungeon and notice how quiet it is. It's a great mod. Speaking of great mods, Skyrim Music 2 is probably one of my favorite mods in this load order. It adds some of the coolest music into the game, and you'll just be walking along and all of a sudden you're like, what the hell is that music that's so beautiful? And it all fits. This mod author, the guy that did this music here, is just awesome. So if you have the space for this, it's only 29.74 megabytes. Put it in your load order. It is really, really cool. Sky HUD, Oblivion presets just changes the look of the HUD screen. Gregorian Skyrim calendar. So when you hit the button to find out what day it is, it uses real life dates and days instead of all that gibberish. And then Sanguis in Oblivion font just changes the font of the whole game. And I'm just trying this one out because I like to change the font. I like font replacers. So I just picked this one. Yeah, whatever. Cheat room, gotta have it in case something happens. It's a great fallback. I'm not really into using it to advance my character or become overpowered. If that's your thing, go ahead and do it. I just have it in there just in case. And now we come to some of the best mods that I have in my load order. Armors and Clothes Overhaul. Practical armors and fashions of the 4th era have changed the look and feel of this game and made it so much more immersive. I cannot stress this enough. These are big files, 737 megabytes. This one's about 30. This one's almost 100. So you're looking at about 860 megabytes with these 3 mods alone. But I'm telling you, it adds a whole nother level. It changes the look of so much stuff. The guards in the holds, the NPCs walking around will be wearing these clothes. And you'll kill a bandit, and there's some crazy looking armor that he has. It's not crazy looking, but armor that looks like the Vigilant of Stendar robes. That's like heavy armor. And heavy armor coupled with robes and fur helmets that are heavy armor and have steel underneath of them. Just really cool stuff. And plus, I got rid of all my other armor mods. And I don't really need a bunch of armor mods with this stuff in here. And it just changes so much. I highly, highly, highly recommend these mods here. Unique armor weapons. I did a separate video on this. It adds so many craftable armors and weapons to the game that you can craft very, very easily at a very low level. Give it a shot. You will not be disappointed. If you want to have Wuthrod at level 2, all you need is an iron ingot. Go to the forge and craft it. You want to wear Savior's hide at level 2, get a piece of leather, go to the forge, craft it. They're all unenchanted. So if you want to have the Dark Brotherhood armor and you want to put your own enchantments on it, go to the forge and craft it. Nightingale armor, Thieves Guild armor, companions, Stormcloak officers, ancient Nord armor, whatever. You want all the Dragon Priest masks, they're all there. Enchant them however the hell you like. It's really cool. Just adds a whole nother level of options for you and your characters and your playthroughs. Here are some armor mods that I did keep. Sorry, Dean. Peacekeeper Black armor. I love this for female characters. Rough leather armor. Pretty badass. And then Royal Daedric armor and weapons. Just takes your Daedric armor and makes it look really, really cool. So I'm keeping them for this playthrough at least. Heavy armory, new weapons, and additional lore weapons add really cool weapons to the game. I mean, you want to smack somebody in the face with a hammer? Get these mods. Bang for your buck. These weapons are awesome. Adds a lot of great weapons into the game. Old Kingdom weapon overhaul is a texture replacer for every weapon in the game. Highly recommend it. It's a huge file size, but again, I don't know that I would play through without it. It's so good. It makes all the weapons look so good. Try it out if you've got the space. Ars Metallica, I don't know, it's in there. Small file size. Just add some different options for crafting in Skyrim. Crafter storage, a must-have, for me at least, adds a chest to every forge, and it contains every single crafting material in the game. So if you don't want to grind out and go mining a bunch of iron and turn it into iron ingots, and you're just like, God, I don't have the money to go buy 10 iron ingots from the blacksmith, just go to this chest and grab them. It's really not cheating, and you don't really have to tell anyone that you did it, so no one's going to know anyway. Crafter storage, put it in your load order. Alternate start, live another life. I'm sure everybody's heard of this mod. Basically, you skip the beginning of the game, make your character, and then you go to this little statue, and there's tons of options on how to start the game. You want to be a vampire? Be a vampire. You want to be, I don't know, some slave that just got his ass kicked and left for dead on the side of the road? Go ahead. Tons of options, alternate start, skip the beginning. Love this mod. I'll always have it in my load order. Interior lights and effects. Man, you'll see at the end of this video when I show some of the footage. This mod is awesome. Changes the interior lights and effects. Smoke, mist in the caves. It makes it pretty dark. You're going to have a torch or a lantern. And this mod that I have down here, wearable lanterns, is a must. You got to have a lantern. If you're in a cave or a ruin or someplace dark, take a lantern. You're going to need it. Tweaked arrows and bolts just basically changes the archery system a little bit to make it a little bit more fair. So this basically just makes your arrows fly a little bit straighter. I don't know. It makes it archery a lot better for me. I put it in there because I'm playing an archery character this playthrough. So XP32 Maximum Skeleton, Realistic Ragdolls and Force. It's a mod that makes bodies move more realistically. I always have it in my load order. Realistic Water 2 makes water look great. If you don't care about water, take it out. You want to put something else in there, this is one that's on the list. Mods I could do without, and I really wouldn't give two shits. This is one of those. Color Patches Remover, take it or leave it. Really doesn't make a difference to me. The only place I've noticed it is in the Dawnguard DLC in the castles. Sometimes there's little color patches, and this fixes that, so whoop-de-doo. Bolt Fasten Quivers, I'm playing an archery character, so I wanted to do this. It just puts the arrows on your belt. This is the XP32 Belt Fasten Quivers patch. Gotta have this. All right, here we go. Skyrim Unbound. I put this in there as a test, so I'm going to disable it during my playthrough. No screen blood. We don't like screen blood. No radial blur. We don't like radial blur. And the last mod, go away map clouds, because when you look at your map, there's too many damn clouds. Go away, map clouds. So that is the load order, guys. I'm going to show some footage now, and in the footage, you're going to see some of the static mesh clutter. You're going to see examples of rustic lands, forts and dungeons, caves and mines, tombs and ruins, the weather, the lighting, the mountain fogs, the unique bridges, interior lighting. This load order has made me completely happy. Credit goes out to Gone Turbo again. I watched his video. It helped me put certain mods in certain places that limited the crashes. Here's one downfall of this mod load order that I'm going to share. The frame rate drops, I think, are a little higher with this load order than any load order I've ever done. And I don't know what's doing it, but it's not a game changer for me. I'll put up with a little skipping every now and then in order to have the beauty of the interiors and the combat and everything else. This load order is really good. 99% of the mods on here I suggest. So sorry this video is running long and I apologize for that, but it's so exciting. This load order has me all worked up. If you like this video, leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I think I have 100 subscribers. Never thought that would happen at all. I can't wait to I want to get to 1,000. So help me reach my goal of getting to 1,000 subscribers. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification so that you're notified of all the content coming out. And I'm going to leave you guys with some footage. Go ahead and watch it. Let me know what you think. I hope you're having a great day. Thanks for letting me be a part of your day. And I'll see you in the next video.